Hey everybody, Jessie Bateman here. So this is my first full day off work that I've had in an extremely long time, and I don't have many plans. Still have full daylight to go through. So I'm gonna go ahead and start my YouTube channel today. So pretty much referencing my fiance. Him and I have been sitting on this excuse couch for about a year, and I say excuse couch because this is kind of his thing right now that he's referencing in all of his videos. So if you want to check them out, they'll be in the description below, so you can check that out. Otherwise, pretty much what we're saying is that for the past year, we have been sitting on this couch making constant excuses on why we aren't starting up our YouTube channel, why we aren't doing this full time already, and just excuse after excuse pretty much. Like, we're sick, we have stuff going on, lighting conditions aren't right, the equipment we don't have, like anything possible. Like, we could see a speck of dirt on the floor, like, oh, our floor is dirty, we're not gonna record today. Pretty much this excuse couch, we're just hopping off today. He started his YouTube last week, and then I am starting it today. So welcome to the first video. We're gonna talk about 5 easy, simple things you can do just to spice up your photos at home or on the go, whatever you need. Like, I carry these stuff in my back pocket all the time. People judge me, but I don't even care. So the first one that we're going to talk about is fairy lights. So if you don't know what fairy lights are, they're just this giant string of lights. They're kind of a pain in the butt because they get tangled up really fast, but that's why you make your fiance untangle them for an hour after every photo session. I actually do that, and I'm sure he hates me for it. So pretty much what you do with these is, so say for instance that we are photographing this lens and we wanted to add the fairy lights to it. So there's a couple different things you can do. You can either put your object in front and just have the fairy lights a little bit further in the back to create a nice bokeh effect, or if you wanted to use them for leading lines, which I'm not going to untangle all of these, so don't judge me right now, but you can either wrap it around the subject and create the leading line, or just literally bring the line right to your lens, and that'll make a nice line for you as well. Another thing that you can do with your fairy lights is, I'm actually going to use my prop, legitimately use it. So if this is my camera and I'm using this lens, I do this a lot for weddings because you want the more glamorous shots for weddings, and the more bokeh the better. So if you just put this into like a little ball type shape and put that in front of the lens, this will create a nice little ring effect around it, or little bokeh spots on it. Whatever you need it to do, you can pretty much customize it to do that. However you move the lights, that's how they're obviously going to form. And then of course, if you are making videos, you are always welcome to put the lights in your background. So I have a couple right behind me on this bookshelf. It's not adding a lot of light right now because of the nice bright window light I have coming in. But you know, if you're in an office space, you can check out on Peter McKinnon. He talks about accent lighting a lot. You can just put those on bookshelves, on the floor, whatever you need it to be, and it'll work out perfectly fine for you. Just add a little nice extra touch there. The next thing I'm going to talk about is prisms. There's a lot of different types of prisms. You absolutely do not have to pay for anything if you don't want to. So I'll just show you a couple. This is my chandelier prism. It is my favorite go-to, just stick in my pocket. Yeah, it's awkward and people judge you, but what are you going to do when you're on a photo shoot and you're not going to carry your bag with you everywhere? So I just carry this with me in my jacket or pocket, whatever I need, and this will create a nice little type of rainbow effect in the corner, and they're all triangle shaped on this one. So it'll kind of splatter throughout the photo. Obviously, depending where you put it, it's going to adjust the photo a little bit more with the prism effect on there. So that's totally up to you. You can order this online. I think I got it for like $5 on Amazon. I mean, it's really not hard at all. As long as you have a light source coming at it, it'll create this nice little rainbow effect. The next one, which I also bought on Amazon, I did not realize I ordered a 9-inch prism, but these are the ones you always had in science classes when you started learning about prisms, if you even did that. So this is the standardized prism. I personally like the chandelier prism more. It just creates a little bit more of an effect. Generally, in most instances, this will just create like one line of a rainbow instead. You can also use it to put right up to your lens, and that'll create like a nice little, kind of like a faded rainbow look. It's hard to actually explain without you physically seeing it. But if you go to Brandon Wolfel's page, he uses this all the time. So you can head over to his Instagram. I will go ahead and link it down below. And you can check out his work. He always uses prism and fairy lights and umbrellas, and it's prop cooler with him, and I love it. But yeah, it's so fancy. It even came with this box, and I think I paid like $12 for it. Otherwise, if you don't want to pay for it, anything, you absolutely do not, we do have another solution for you. A lot of photographers I know don't even realize it's a thing. So a couple weddings ago that I did, we had the photographer that I was working with and then the videographer there. And here I was like sitting on the floor doing some range shots, so it was all macro photography, just really close up. And I'm sitting there and I have my phone and a CD. And this chick is like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm creating a prism." And she was just so flabbergasted about this, like she never thought about it. And now she said she's going to create prisms in her videos. And sure enough, I watched some of her videos and there's prisms and fairy lights, like everything she saw me doing, she pretty much incorporated into her video, which I absolutely love. I think it is fantastic that she bounced some ideas off of me and incorporated that into her own unique style. So you can do that, and I'll go ahead and show you how to do that. So pretty much what you do, you just bring up your flashlight on either your phone or grab an actual flashlight. I've never used an actual flashlight, so I'm not sure how hard that would be to handle. Obviously you want one hand open because you're going to be doing pictures in one. So pretty much what you want to do is place your phone in your hand with your thumb and your fingers holding the bottom of it, and then just put your pointer finger through the middle hole. And then you can just bounce the light right off the reflection. Yeah, that'll just make a really great prism. If you saw the previous video of the laundromat challenge, we used this when she was actually in the dryer. Yeah, we put my model in a dryer. It was fine. She thought it was funny. So yeah, we did that and we put this into the dryer. So with the metal inside the dryer, it actually reflected really well. So the more reflective surfaces you have for prism, it's gonna make it way stronger. Depending on what you're going for. If you want subtle, obviously don't reflect it off of anything besides the prism itself. Otherwise, if for instance you were in a dryer and you wanted the prism effect, it reflected off the walls, but I mainly had it on her like face-ish neck area. And then of course it reflected everywhere else and created this really nice effect. So at the end of the video, I will go ahead and flash some of those photos and you can see what I'm talking about with that. The next thing I want to talk about is going to be leading lines. So leading lines are a huge thing. I know Maddie Hapoya did an entire video on it a couple weeks ago and he used his editor as his subject, so you can go ahead and watch that. I'll link it in the description below. Pretty much the whole thing with leading lines is you want the lines to be facing toward, well, coming into your subject pretty much, or coming out, depending on how you're doing it. It's all dependent on the photographer. I see some have leading lines from the side coming in so that they're in the middle, but that kind of draws the focus off of them. Whereas if you have two lines on each side of you, or even just one going through middle or side, whatever you like, then just have that coming right towards your subject and that'll make them pop out a little bit. Maddie did a really good job about describing and explaining how you want to use leading lines. So like I said, you can definitely do that with the fairy lights. Through the b-roll you saw that there was the coffee line, or even on the set with the crate itself. In the background we had the lines from the wood planks in the background that created some nice lines. And then you can always create some more. So for instance, when we had the plant in front of us, I had Robbie, my fiance, just hold the leaves apart a little bit, so I just had a couple leaves coming up making this V shape. And then I brought it up to the lens more so it was blurred and created a really nice depth photo, and then just had the coffee in the background that was in focus. So those are the leading lines. I really strongly recommend heading over to Maddie's video and checking that out. Like I said, he did a really good job explaining it. So the next thing is reflections. Reflections are a little bit harder to come by. You definitely have to search for them a little bit harder than you would for textures or leading lines, anything like that. I usually use them for my product photography or even during weddings when I'm doing the low range shots. Pretty much you can use a mirror, or I have little pieces of metal that'll create like this faded color to it. So you can use that as well, or even water. That's a very common thing. You can look up reflections on YouTube and they'll show you how to do them. Night is the best time to do it, but if you just take a water bottle with you, dump some water on the street, and then if you have any light around you, it'll go ahead and reflect into that water. Or even put the object in or behind the water and get that object reflecting from the water. So that'll work really well for you as well. last thing is going to be textures. Textures are a huge thing. Peter McKinnon talked about it, Maddie talked about it, every single photographer or YouTuber who does anything videography or photography related always talks about textures. It's super simple to incorporate, so I don't think I actually have many textures in this area, but that's okay. In the B-roll, you'll see that we created texture with the wood panels because it wasn't sanded, so you just had the little wood chips sticking up. My coffee table created a really nice textured look, and then the coffee beans and the magnifying glass created some really nice texture and reflections as well. That was the 5 things that you can use. Like I said, I definitely recommend incorporating them into your photos, photography, or even videography. Maybe you're just an Instagrammer. Like, definitely incorporate these into your photos. It'll make your pictures stand out. And even when people are scrolling and they see this awesome prism effect or the fairy lights or reflections, they'll stop and look at it for a second rather than just scrolling past, and you'll probably get some more likes from creating a more unique style from this. So I definitely recommend using these. Of course, if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments. Otherwise, thank you everyone for watching, and I really advise everyone, if you are sitting on that excuse couch like Robbie and I were for the past year, I recommend just going on YouTube, getting some inspiration, going outside, like whatever you get inspiration from, just go ahead and do that and start your videos, upload them. Don't care about how judgmental people are gonna be or how bad your hair looks. Like, I'm having a horrible hair day, just threw a hat on and called it good. This isn't even my hat. Of course, if we inspired you, go ahead and send us the link to your videos that you created and posted in the comments below, and we will go ahead and check those out. We are new YouTubers, we're not that busy. So yeah, we definitely will go check those out for you and give you some feedback. That is it. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.